Hey guys, Fresh Football Observer here, and today's video is going to be a Premier League review show reviewing Game 14 of the 2019-2020 season. This round of fixtures threw up some big encounters, it produced some cracking and big goals, and it even threw up the occasional shock or two. And for all the results and all the talking points, I'm going to sum it all up in this video. So without further ado, let's begin. We're going to begin with the Premier League leaders Liverpool, who maintained their unbeaten season so far thanks to a brace from an unlikely goal scorer, and they even managed to survive a nervy final 15 minutes in the process. 18 minutes were on the clock when the Reds broke the deadlock. Trent Alexander-Arnold's delivery from a free kick found Virgil van Dijk, and the Dutch defender headed home from close range. 6 minutes later, Liverpool doubled their lead. The combination of Trent and Van Dijk were again working in the Reds' favour as the right back produced another quality delivery that found Liverpool's number 4, and he got his and the Reds' second goal of the afternoon. Liverpool survived a couple of scares when Lewis Dunk had chances to pull Brighton back into the game but failed to hit the target. And then a moment of madness from Liverpool goalkeeper Aston occurred when the Brazilian goalkeeper was sent off for handling the ball outside of the penalty area. From the resulting free kick, Lewis Dunk halved the deficit at the third time of asking after drilling the dead ball into the bottom corner to set up an exciting finale. But despite being down to 10 men, the Reds held on for all 3 points. The Reds once again managed to get the job done. It wasn't a clean victory by any means. I mean, the final 15 minutes clearly displayed that. But the red card for Alisson didn't help matters. And then the substitute goalkeeper Adrian seemed more distracted with his anger towards the referee for what he determined was a quick free kick that he wasn't ready for Dunk's goal. But ultimately, it's another 3 points on the board for Liverpool. And to make it even sweeter, Manchester City also dropped more points earlier on in that day. As for Brighton, they made a real good account for themselves in this game, and if it weren't for some poor finishing by Lewis Dunk, they really could have managed to have got something from this game, you feel. On another day, it could have happened, but there were many positives here for them to take, I'm sure. Liverpool now turn their attention to the Merseyside derby against Everton on Wednesday, whilst Brighton travel to London to face Arsenal on Thursday night. Our next game saw a pretty big shock occur at St James's Park, where Newcastle twice fought back from going behind to take a point against Manchester City as Pep Guardiola's side lost further ground on league leaders Liverpool. City opened the scoring in the first half through Raheem Sterling with a well-placed strike after being brilliantly teed up by David Silva's back heel. The lead didn't last for long, however, as Jetro Williams equalised for the Magpies soon after, thanks to Miguel Almiron's assist. City thought they had won the game late on in the second half when Kevin De Bruyne scored a stunning volleyed goal. However, the Magpies again fought back to be on level terms in the dying embers of the game when John Joe Shelvey fired home from distance in another stunning goal to make sure Steve Bruce's side came away with a hard-fought point. I mentioned in the preview that City need to be aware that this game isn't a banana skin fixture for them, and that's exactly how it proved to be. It was a below par performance from City. They were slow and they were at times quite boring, surprisingly, but take nothing away from Newcastle, who were resolute and disciplined defensively and deservedly came away with something from this game. The result, along with the Liverpool result, now means that City are 11 points now behind the league leaders. Quite the incredible gap developing between them, and with some interesting fixtures coming up on City's horizon, it will be interesting to see how City respond, if they respond. Newcastle now turn their attention to a tough away trip to Sheffield United on Thursday, while City will look to bounce back when they take on Burnley on Tuesday night. Our next game takes us to Old Trafford, where Manchester United and Aston Villa played out a 2-2 draw in Sunday afternoon's fixture. With just over 10 minutes on the clock, Villa took the lead. Jack Grealish from the left of the decided penalty area cut inside onto his right foot and curled a stunning strike past David De Gea and into the back of the net. Villa thought they had doubled their lead later in the half through Trezeguet from close range. However, VAR interfered and ruled out the goal after it was revealed that Grealish was just offside during the build-up to the goal. Later on in the half, United equalised. Andreas Pereira's cross was met by Marcus Rashford and his header came off of Tom Heaton and into the Villa net. United went on to take the lead in the second half when Fred's deflected cross went right the way through the penalty area to Victor Lindelof, who was waiting at the far post to head home. But almost immediately after taking the lead, United were pegged back. Matt Targett's cross found Tyrone Mings free in the penalty area, and he fired the host back onto level terms, and as it was, scored the goal that earned Villa a point in this game. Not the ideal result for Manchester United at all, whilst for Villa, they made a good account for themselves in this game in all honesty, and on another day could have gone on to win the game. United will look to get back to winning ways when they take on a former manager of theirs in Jose Mourinho when they face Tottenham on Wednesday, whilst Aston Villa face another tricky task when they have Chelsea to contend with in their next fixture. Our next game saw West Ham surprisingly end their 7-game winless run thanks to a 1-0 victory over Frank Lampard's Chelsea in this London derby at Stamford Bridge. The only goal of the game came shortly after the interval. Aaron Cresswell down the left wing cut inside onto his right foot and unleashed a curling shot that went beyond Kepa Arrizabalaga in the Blues' goal and into the back of the net. Mikel Antonio thought he had doubled West Ham's lead later on in the half when he bundled home into the back of the net. However, VAR interfered and ruled the goal out after it was revealed the ball came off Antonio's hand as he scored. From there, with some resolute defending, the Hammers saw the game out. They not only pick up the bragging rights over fellow London rivals, but they also pick up 3 big and important points, along with a clean sheet to boot. Not a bad afternoon at all for Manuel Pellegrini and West Ham. This is a result that will surely ease the pressure a little for now on Manuel Pellegrini, at least for this game, and will likely buy him a little more time. It was a result I don't think many would have predicted at the start, but for them it's a big 3 points gained. They'll be looking to build on this win when they take on Wolves on Wednesday night in their next game. As for Chelsea, a bad day at the office all round, and now back-to-back losses in the Premier League. It's a bit of a bump in the road, and they'll look to recover from this very soon, and they'll have the opportunity to do so when they take on Aston Villa on Wednesday night, again at Stamford Bridge. Our next game saw Freddie Ljungberg's first game in charge of Arsenal as interim manager end in a 2-2 draw as they twice fought back from a goal down to take a point against Norwich. A lot of eyes were on Arsenal and Ljungberg following the dismissal of former Gunners boss Unai Emery earlier this week, but it was the Canaries who drew first blood when Timu Pukki ended his goal drought with a deflected strike that beat Bernd Leno in the Gunners' goal. The lead didn't last too long, however, as Arsenal equalised near the half-hour mark, but it did come under controversial circumstances. The Gunners were awarded a penalty following a handball against Christoph Zimmermann. Initially, Tim Krul saved from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, but due to encroachment by a Norwich player, the penalty was retaken, and at the second time of asking, Aubameyang made no mistake in converting from 12 yards. On the stroke of half-time though, Norwich were back in front. Onel Hernandez teed up Todd Cantwell, whose finessed and cool finish restored the Canaries' lead. However, shortly before the hour mark, Arsenal equalised again. An Arsenal corner kindly fell into the path of Aubameyang and he fired home from close range, a goal which proved to have rescued a point for the away side, and it was also helped by Bernd Leno making a few quality saves for the Gunners at the other end as both sides were forced to share the spoils. A good point for Norwich. All week they would have been looking forward to this game until the news of Unai Emery's sacking occurred. Then they may have been feeling a little more cautious than before. But if it weren't for some great saves from Leno, they could have actually went on to take the 3 points in this game. But as it is, it's another point towards Premier League survival for them. And now they turn their attention to facing Southampton away from home on Wednesday night. As for Arsenal, Emery is gone, and it wasn't a terrible display by all means for Ljungberg on his first day. Okay, the team selection and formation may be called into question a little, but he didn't have anything to lose in all honesty. Of course, it wasn't going to happen overnight, and it will be interesting to see if a new manager is appointed before their next game, but until then, not too much to discuss here. Arsenal's next game in question is against Brighton on Thursday. Next on this list, we're at the King Power Stadium, where a very late Kelechi Iheanacho goal meant that Leicester remained in second place and 8 points behind Liverpool, and it could have spelled the end for Marco Silva's reign as Everton manager in the process. Rather surprisingly, it was the Toffees who took the lead. Richarlison headed home from Djibril Sidibe's cross to draw first blood for the visitors. VAR then overturned a Leicester penalty when the referee pointed to the spot later in that half after judging that Mason Holgate had fouled Ben Chilwell in the penalty area, but it was revealed that no contact was made and no spot kick was as a result awarded. Midway through the second half though, the Foxes were back on level terms. Kelechi and Iheanacho drilled the ball across the face of goal and Jamie Vardy was on hand to steer the ball home to score his 13th goal of the season so far. And then very late on, a drama unfolded as Leicester scored the winning goal in the dying embers of the game. A Fox's breakaway ended with substitute Kelechi Iheanacho striking home the winner as he celebrated, the linesman's flag went up, it went to VAR and it was revealed that the linesman was in fact wrong and the goal was left to stand as Leicester took all 3 points. What late drama that was. Not the best of Leicester performances by any means, but eventually they got the job done and the high-flying Foxes make it 6 wins on the bounce, as well as stay in second place in the table and are still 8 points behind Liverpool as they now turn their attention to facing Watford midweek. As for Everton, a much more stronger, spirited and disciplined performance, but ultimately when your luck's not going for you, it really is going against you, and that is exactly what happened here as they couldn't hold on to a point in a game where no one was really expecting them to get anything out of anyway. It's an interesting few days that lie ahead for the Toffees in regards to their manager situation, with Marco Silva seemingly nearing the exit door with every passing day, whilst also they will have to prepare for the game that's coming up on Wednesday night, which of course is the Merseyside derby against league leaders Liverpool. Our next game saw Jose Mourinho's first league home game in charge of Tottenham be a successful one as Spurs picked up another 3 points thanks to a 3-2 victory over Bournemouth at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs broke the deadlock midway through the first half when Toby Alderweireld's long ball released Heung-min Son, whose touch set up Dele Alli to produce a simple finish. 5 minutes after the restart, Ali got his and Tottenham's second goal of the game. Another long ball from Alderweireld released Ali this time, and the English midfielder controlled and composed himself and then finished well to double the home side's lead. Tottenham added the third goal through Moussa Sissoko, who volleyed home Son's cross. Bournemouth did manage to get a goal back with 20 minutes of the game remaining thanks to Harry Wilson's trademark free kick, and Wilson was on hand to reduce the deficit down to 1 very late on into injury time, but there wasn't enough time left to complete the comeback as Spurs held on for the victory. Another game, another win for Jose Mourinho and Tottenham, and they've shot right up the table. Once again though, conceding 2 goals will be an issue for Mourinho, and it will be something that he'll be desperate to sort out as soon as possible. But one thing he will be happy about will be the resurrection or rebirth of one Dele Alli, a guy who had kind of fallen away the past several months or so. He was at the heart of all of Spurs' good highlights in this game, as he has been since Mourinho took over in all honesty. As for Bournemouth, a bit of a cold spell right now, which is nothing really unusual. This team tends to go through inconsistent spells of good and bad, but losing 3 games on the bounce now doesn't look that great, and they'll be looking to swiftly put this right into the coming fixtures. An exciting looking fixture lies in store for Tottenham next as they prepare to take on Mourinho's former club Manchester United on Wednesday, whilst Bournemouth will look to bounce back when they take on Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. Our next game saw both Wolves and Sheffield United both maintain their unbeaten runs following a 1-1 draw at Molineux. The Blades broke the deadlock very early on and through Lise Mousset, who found himself in plenty of space in the penalty area to strike home. Both sides had chances from there on out, but neither could take them until Matt Doherty was on hand to equalise for the hosts after meeting Raul Jimenez's cross and sticking the ball past Dean Henderson in the Blades' goal. It made it so that both sides had to leave with a point apiece, as both sides still maintain their good starts to the season. Open game, an entertaining game, and both sides had chances to go on and win it. United probably had the more clear-cut chances and probably will be kicking themselves that they didn't manage to see the game out till the end. But all in all, it's not a terrible result for either side in a tough game for them both. Wolves take on West Ham in their next game, whilst the Blades turn their attention to facing Newcastle on Thursday night. The penultimate game on this list saw a quick-fire double from Southampton late on in the second half, turned the game completely on its head as this bottom of the table clash went in the favour of the Saints, thanks to a 2-1 victory at St Mary's. With 24 minutes on the clock, it was the away side who broke the deadlock first. A long ball by Etienne Capoue wasn't dealt with by Jack Stevens, and the defender actually set up Ismail Sarr to run through on goal, and the winger's cool finish drew first blood for the Hornets. Southampton grew into the game in the second half, and within the space of a few minutes, the Saints turned it around, turned the game on its head. First, Danny Ings equalised after bundling the ball home following great play by Moussa Djenepo, who teed him up after running down to the goal line. Then, shortly after, James Ward-Prowse scored a stunning free kick that Ben Foster managed to get fingertips to, but couldn't keep from crossing the goal line. From there, Southampton managed to withstand the pressure and managed to hold out to gain an important 3 points for themselves and for Ralph Hasenhüttl. A crucial and much needed result for Southampton. They not only take 3 points from their relegation rivals, but they also ease the pressure for now on manager Ralph Hasenhüttl. The Saints definitely have the fight to survive and truly kick on their season from this point. It's whether they do so, that's another question. As for Watford, another loss, 6 points from safety, and things are not looking good right now at all for the Hornets. And of course, as we now know, in the aftermath of this result, Quique Sanchez-Flores has indeed been sacked as Watford manager. Southampton turn their attention to entertaining Norwich on Wednesday, whilst a now managerless Watford, they have their next game against, well, a tough task against Leicester awaits them in their next game. And in our final game, Crystal Palace ended their 5-game winless run with a 2-0 victory over Burnley at Turf Moor. Palace thought they'd open the scoring 7 minutes before half-time when Jordan Ayew found the back of the net. However, VAR ruled out the goal after it was revealed that Patrick Van Aanholt was offside during the build-up. Palace did eventually go on to take the lead on the stroke of half-time. Wilfried Zaha, with a shot from a tight angle, managed to beat Nick Pope at his near post to score his second goal in 2 consecutive games. Palace put the game to bed very late on in the second half when Ben Mee's missed kick clearance went straight to Jeffrey Schlupp and he fired home as Palace went on to take all 3 points. A great victory here for Palace, a much needed one given the tough run of fixtures that they've had to come off the back of over the past several weeks. Credit to Roy Hodgson and Palace for doing well so far this season and for keeping up with the majority of teams in and around the middle of the table. You'd expect the mediocre up and down season to continue for this side, and to be honest, you really could say the same for Burnley as well. Another loss and another dose of inconsistency, but you kind of come to expect that from this team, and they'll just look to move on from this. However, Burnley's next game doesn't come any easier, as they will have to be facing Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, whilst Palace will look to make it back-to-back wins when they take on Bournemouth on Tuesday night. And that wraps up this Premier League review show for Game 14 of the 2019-2020 season. Guys, if you have any thoughts or comments on any of this round's results or any of this round's biggest talking points, then let me know them in the comment section down below. I look forward to reading them. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way out if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things will be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch the Football Observer. This has been another Premier League review show, and I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video.